Well, the broiler chicks are 1 week old and they have grown a ton. We've got some work to do inside of their brooder today. I'm going to show you some cleaning things that we need to do in there. I've also noticed a couple of them have a little bit of poop stuck on their back end, so we're going to take a look at those and see if that's pasty butt or what's going on with those. We're going to upgrade their feeders because they are eating a ton already, and we're going to cover all of this in this video. Hey everybody, welcome back to the homestead. This is Kevin with Living Traditions Homestead. Well, the broiler chicks are 1 week old. Let's go in and see how they're doing. Now, I haven't gone in at all yet this morning to check on them. I did their nightly chores last night, but I wanted to give you a real picture of what it's like when you go in first thing in the morning. So let's go look. You can see some of them under their light, but most of them are not, so which means to me they stayed plenty warm overnight. They're just about out of food. So after we clean in here today, I'm actually going to give them bigger feeders because right now they're going through these two feeders about twice a day. And that's about normal. I like to give them these little feeders to start off with, but they do outgrow them pretty quickly. So we're going to give them some bigger feeders. You can also see kind of how I was talking about not having to get rid of all the hay, but you know, there's quite a bit of poop underneath the heat lamps because they spend a lot of time there, and there's, you know, quite a bit of poop on these trays. So we'll just take those out and hose them off, and we'll take a pitchfork and get rid of this hay underneath the lights and replace it. And that's really about all we'll need to do for cleaning. But then, like I said, there are a couple of them that I noticed have just a little bit of poop stuck on their back end, so we're going to try to catch those, make sure that that's nothing serious, and try to see what's going on with that. So I'm going to get cleaning. So they're right now they're going through about 2 gallons of water a day. Well, I fill both of these in the morning and again in the evening, and they're just about empty both times. So in a 24-hour period, I guess they're going through about 4 gallons of water. So, but I do keep them on these 1 gallon waters until they're ready to go out into the tractors, even if it is a little more work having to fill them more often. They just work better inside of these pans and inside of the brooders. So I'm going to get cleaning, and then we'll start catching some of these chicks and seeing what's going on with them. Okay, so now that we're done cleaning, it's time to get everything set back up. We're going to start by putting their pans back down. Alright, so those are all set back up. Now, like I said, we're going to give them bigger feeders today. Let me show you the next type of feeder. Through the entire process of raising them, we're actually going to use 3 types of feeders depending on where they are in the growing process. So the next type, now these will get us through the next 2 weeks until they move out to the tractors. But I like these right here. They're long, they no longer have the individual holes, but they do have this bar on top so that they can't jump completely inside of it. If they do try to land on this to roost or something, it turns so that they fall off, and they don't like that. So, and you can move it up and down. I always just leave it on the top setting, but these are the feeders that I like to use now until the time that we move them out to the chicken tractors, which is at the when they turn 3 weeks old. So I'm going to get these set up. Now, we're still on the bag of medicated feed, but they have gone through, they've gone through probably a quarter of it at this point. But from this point forward, this is where they really start eating a lot. It's gonna get more and more as they grow, obviously, but the first week they don't really consume a lot quantity-wise. They eat constantly, but they don't consume a lot quantity-wise because they're just so small. But from here on out, you'll notice they start going through a lot of feed. So we're going to fill their feeders up. Now here's a money-saving tip for you if you use vinegar in your house. These vinegar bottles, if you just cut the bottom off at an angle, they make a really good feed scoop. No need to go to the feed store and spend $10 or $12 on a nice fancy scoop when these do just as well, and really they're usually bigger and hold more feed, so find them in no time. Alright, so we got their food and water set back up. Let's take a second to talk about the heat lamps. They're now starting to get just a few little wing feathers. So they still need heat for sure, especially at night. Now the last few days have been in the mid 80s here, so I've actually been turning their lights off during the day. My experience with the Cornish cross chickens is they're not nearly as fragile when it comes to heat as the standard breeds of chickens, your layer chickens. I feel like in general they handle cold better than heat. So at this point I'm going to put their lights back down, but I'm not going to put them as low as I had them last week. It's time to start getting them used to a little bit of coolness, because in another 2 weeks they're going to be out in the chicken tractors, and out there it's whatever the temperature is what they get, and that's starting at 3 weeks. So I'm going to put that about there. Now someone did ask a question this last week about whether or not I'm concerned about the heat lamps starting the hay on fire. I'm really not, because A, I've never had that problem, and we've been doing this for quite a while now. And what I try to do is I put my hand down here, and first of all, if this were close enough to be lighting the hay on fire, I would think it would also be close enough that you'd be burning your chicks, and so you've got some bigger issues if that's what's going on. So I mean, if you can put your hand down here, and you should be able to feel a little bit of warmth, but it should not, by no means be an uncomfortable situation. If it's burning your hand, or if you can't hold your hand down there for more than a few seconds, it's also going to be burning the chicks. So you want to make sure you have them up high enough. So you can see, like I said, they've already found the new feeders. Now, like I said last week, putting the apple cider vinegar in the water almost eliminates the chance of the pasty butt. It's not a 100% guarantee, but in my experience, it's very rare once you're putting the apple cider vinegar in there. So as you can see, this guy does have some, poop around his butt. It's not enough to be causing any kind of blockage at this point. He's still able to go to the bathroom. But if you weren't paying attention and didn't see this, it could easily start to build up to a point where you would have some pasty butt. So what I'm going to do is take a paper towel, soak it in some water, and then put it on there until that comes off. You don't want to just pull, because you're going to injure the bird. So you want to loosen that up and then try to get it off. Well, this is all just part of keeping them healthy. Especially this first few weeks while they're in the brooder. That's where they're the most vulnerable. You can see with just a little water that's coming off. You can see that that came off pretty well. Doesn't look like it's really caused any problems. We'll just keep an eye on all of these and keep checking them. In my experience, if this is going to be a problem, it's going to be a problem in the first few weeks. After that, they're pretty much good to go. So you can also see that they are starting to get some of their wing feathers, which is good. Once they start to get their real feathers, that's when they can start to control their own body temperature. So it's another reason you don't want to keep the heat too warm in here, because you want their bodies to start feathering out so that they can handle being out in the tractors by 3 weeks old. Now this time of year, it's not very cold out, so we're not going to have any problem. The ones that we do first in the spring, a lot of times it's still maybe in the 30s or 40s out. Those, we need to be a little more careful with, but this time of year, not a big deal. Oh, one thing that I did forget to tell you guys, we did lose one chick this week. I came out in the morning and it was dead underneath the heat lamp. I'm not sure exactly what happened, you know, but that's just a part of this. Sometimes you're going to lose one or two, typically in those first few weeks. You know, some just aren't as strong and aren't going to survive as well as the rest. So, you know, you just need to be prepared for that mentally, that's going to happen. And, you know, you can't take that personally. You're not doing anything wrong. You know, that just happens on a pretty regular basis. So I think that's about it for the update for this week. You know, they don't change a lot these first few weeks. I mean, they do grow. They're eating well. But for the most part, you know, we just keep on with the same routine for this next week. We're still going to feed them, you know, 24 hours a day, around the clock. We're going to do that again this week and next week. And then we'll change that once we get them into the tractors. But, you know, the main thing at this point is same as last week. As long as you're keeping them warm, you're keeping them dry, and you make sure they have food and water, they should be happy and healthy, and nothing should go wrong. I hope that these videos are going to be helpful for you. What I'm trying to do is give you a real, you know, true picture of what it's like to raise these chicks. You know, I'm not going to sugarcoat how things go. I'm going to show you all of the problems. I'm going to show you, you know, how much they poop, how much they, you know, how much of a mess they make, and try to give you a true picture of how much work it takes to raise a batch of these chicks from the time that you get them until the time that it's ready to process them. You know, raising your own food takes work. It's something that you have to have, you know, if you're the kind of person who likes to go away every weekend and not be home, this probably isn't for you. You need to be here to take care of these chicks for every day for the next 2 months. So that's it. If this was your first time watching our videos, I hope that you will hit the subscribe button below. If you're already a subscriber, leave us a comment. Let us know if you like these series. If you you know, want us to do more of these series, walking through how to do certain things on the homestead. We're always open to suggestions, and we just really appreciate the feedback, and we really enjoy having all of you be part of our homestead family. So until next time, thanks for stopping by the homestead, and God bless.